Elite professional cyclists are often held up on a metaphorical and literal pedestal as an example of what all cyclists should do. Basically, if the pros do it, so should you. In this video, however, I'm going to go counter that flow and give you 3 reasons why you shouldn't do what the pros do. Why are you tearing the bike community apart, Russ? Why? And to be clear, this isn't a knock against pro cyclists or people that like that kind of riding. I'm just simply stating that one particular style of riding shouldn't be the default lens through which we look at all of cycling. The first reason you shouldn't do what a pro cyclist does is you basically have different goals. Theirs is to compete and win races and bring home a paycheck and make their sponsors happy. And if that isn't your goal, then you should probably take what they do with a grain of salt. If your goal is to drop your kids off at school, pick up some groceries, go on a long and lazy meandering tour, then it goes without saying you don't need to emulate what they're doing. You don't need a carbon fiber bike. You don't need to wear some crazy aero helmet or a skin suit. A lot of that is an unnecessary expense that's not going to benefit most cyclists. And if anything, it just acts as a barrier. Furthermore, there's a lot of advice in training videos. That information is great if you want to race and want to participate in that kind of riding, but it shouldn't be the received wisdom for all people on the bike. If your goal is to just ride around, riding a bike shouldn't be like school where you work your way up to some kind of vague ideal and you graduate to a real cyclist and they give you an aero helmet and clipless pedals. Just like how everyone who drives a car doesn't aspire to be an F1 racer, to be a real driver. Some people just drive to get around, to move their kids, to do daily tasks. This dovetails into another reason why you shouldn't do what the pros do, in particular using the same equipment. Pro cyclists are trained athletes that weigh like next to nothing and are super flexible. And what suits them so they can accomplish their goals doesn't make sense for a lot of people. So don't feel that pressure to slam that stem or ride on super narrow, high pressure tires. Unfortunately, today, most road bikes are actually road racing bikes or pretend road racing bikes. Again, to use the car analogy, a lot of people are looking for a minivan or that affordable, bare bones pickup truck to do tasks. But most bike shops, when you walk in there, they're basically selling, the equivalent of Formula One cars or Formula One car light. Give me a bike with a comfortable ride with tires that aren't optimized just to go around a closed circuit track, and whatever the bike equivalent of cup holders is. That might be Brazons or Adventure Nipples. More cup holders and more better. And the last reason why you shouldn't do what the pros do is because it's their job and it's not yours. You don't want to turn something fun into a job, do you? Just like any job, cycling has a uniform and tools to accomplish that very specific task. Aero clothing and funny hats make sense in that context. But if it's not your job and your paycheck doesn't rely on your cycling performance, then don't worry about it. Again, not knocking anyone that does this kind of riding or enjoys this kind of riding or wants to do this kind of riding, but there is a big wide world of people that ride their bikes or want to get into cycling that are just kind of put off and intimidated by this constant messaging that you have to ride a particular way. And this video is for them. If you like this video and you want to see more, please consider supporting the channel by joining us on Patreon. It's the way we're able to keep the lights on, quite literally. We're not sponsored by any big cycling brands. If you appreciate this independent voice, then check out the links below. And as always, keep the supple side down.